All right, all right. Hello, guys. Hi, how has it been? I've been sick. There's no other good way to say it. I've been sick. The world's been kind of poop lately. It's been a year. It's been a year. It's only been 3 months. It's been a year. Yeah. So, hi. For anybody new here, my name is Michi, Twisted Disaster. I am a full-time freelance artist. I do streams. I do art. I do game. I do conventions. Have an online shop. My online shop right now is currently closed, but for the first time in a long time, my commissions are open on VGen. So if anybody's ever wanted to commission me, I'll have that link down below for my shameless plug of myself. Also, if you don't want to do that and you like stickers, I do have an exclusive sticker club where I ship out stickers internationally, internationally, everywhere, worldwide, for at least $5 a month. So if you like stickers and you like support, feel free to check that out as well. All right, there. The shameless plug, the promo is out of the way. Let's get into the nitty gritty, right? It's been a long time since I've had a con review. I was supposed to get ALA done, and then there's some things that happened, and I'll explain that at the end of the video. But let's stay on topic here. So it was my first year at Wondercon. Wondercon is a Comic-Con, Nerd-Con kind of convention that takes place in Anaheim, California, usually around this time every year. It is a well-known con. A lot of my friends always get into it. I talked about this in my LACC Artist Alley vlog of how I'm kind of done with comic cons and I want to stick to like horror cons and anime cons for a bit. This con changed my outlook on things. It changed my outlook on things a little bit. So we're going to be getting into that. So first of all, for some very, very important context needed. So in my convention reviews going forward, I am no longer going to say exactly a number amount of how much I did or didn't make, simply because there is a very, very bad oversaturation problem right now going on in the Artist Alley sphere. And this is not me trying to gatekeep. This is not me trying to that. The simple reason is because I have seen time and time and time and time and time again of people who want to do Artist Alley, who watch these kind of reviews that I'm doing right now, and they watch Artist Alley vlogs and they do stuff like that, and they hear the numbers. Okay, they hear the numbers and they think that that is normal. When a big factor that goes into Artist Alley and into doing conventions and into doing vending as a whole is the fact that it very much fluctuates. And this was the first time that I table shared with another friend of mine. I was not with my buddy Nightly Vale. She was there. Nightly Vale was there. My baby girl was there. Very proud of her. I actually did my split this time with my friend King Kuma. He offered it to me last minute. Very helpful, very great. He's a blast. I'll have him linked down below as well. You should definitely check out his social media and his shop. His stuff's hilarious. But I found out that King Kuma and a couple of his friends have done this thing for a long time. Like, he told me the very first show he ever vended at was in 2011, and I was like, oh my god, the year I graduated high school? He's like, yeah, I was out of high school for a couple of years there, like I was in college during that time. And I'm like, damn, that's wild. So I was talking to him a lot at this con because we've been like work mutuals. We've been friends. We've been friendly before. Now I do consider us friends because we were gabbing the whole freaking weekend and everything. But, and there's my cat. Hold on. All right, I'm back. So, if you guys remember a video I made last year, what did I call it? Yeah, it's getting harder to work conventions. In that video, I talk about how bad the Southern California oversaturation problem is. And now going through what I went through and having this con, it is becoming more and more and more apparent that people need to stop flying out to California cons. This is not me trying to gatekeep. This is not me trying to be mean. Unless it's one of the big guys, unless it's ALA, like actual San Diego Comic-Con, keep that in mind, or Anime Expo, because of how bad our oversaturation problem is here, it is not worth it in SoCal. I've heard different things about Northern Cali, so I'm not going to consider them, for people coming out for these cons, because I had talked to quite a few people at this con and the past few, and they've all said the same thing. Another thing that's very important to keep into account is we are in the middle of a recession. People like to think that we're not, but we are. The economy is horrible right now. And a big problem with Southern California cons is I have some regulars who I love. I see them at every single con, I see them at every single thing. That is their bread and butter. Going to conventions is their hobby, it is their thing. That being said, they don't always have money to go shopping. And people have been getting mad lately because they're like, oh my God, the artists at Artist Alley are only there to make money. Yeah, that's why we do it. I hate to be that like, we love nerd culture. We love talking about stuff. 9 times out of 10, the average Artist Alley artist that you see, I'm not talking about vendors, I'm talking about Artist Alley artists. They need that money. I was a person that needed the money. And so, considering I did a table split, considering I live really close to the con, and considering certain things going on in my life I'm not going to get into right now, I didn't have any new stuff or restock anything. Everything I had was the leftovers I had from ALA. So I went in with very, very, very low numbers going in. And I made enough profit that I'm okay for a month, maybe 2 right now. That's all I'm really comfortable sharing. It's definitely not as good as I could have been. It's definitely not as good as it should have been if I had more stuff. But given the circumstances, I did okay. My head can be above water for a little bit because the economy is poo-poo right now. And everybody's having a hard time. But the reason why I say that is an artist that I love was there. An artist from another country. I'm not going to say who for safety reasons, but they were there. And I was like, hey, how'd you do? They're like, honestly, I just kind of broke even, which is not good. When this is a very important thing. When you are doing a convention, you are usually starting out in the negative. That's how it often goes. I'm not saying that for everyone. I'm saying when you start, unless you made like buco bucks or you had a fat savings before you started, usually it's like, okay, you have merch, table cost, parking, food, all that stuff into it before you even break even. So that's like a very big factor there. And the reason for that is because I've talked to friends who've done other cons in other states, and especially like on the East Coast, and they talk about their numbers. And then they hear the numbers out here. And when the numbers are numbering about the same, but the overhead is like 9 times worse, it's not worth it. Again, I'm not trying to sound like a gatekeeper. I'm not being like, here, you are not going to make money unless you are very, very popular. This is something else I was talking about, and this is why I'm getting into the fact of why I'm not going to be talking about prices anymore. Is there was a person who, not at this con, but it was a couple cons back, who told me how much money they went in debt for because they felt like, well, I heard that so and so made 10 grand profit and this was all the merch they had, so I maxed out like 3 credit cards to get all this stuff done, and oh my God, I only made 3 grand. Why would popular artist who is very popular, who has a lot of stuff, who has a well-known name in the circles, why would they lie? And it's like, they didn't lie. That popular person probably did make 10 grand. That person that you see at every single con probably makes good freaking money, and that's because they're popular. They've put in the work, they've got the name behind them, they've got the merch behind it. Because that's something else that I was taking notes of. A thing that you want to start off with when you're doing cons is you always want to take mental notes of things, because everybody makes keychains, everybody makes standees, everybody makes this and that. You need to find out what makes yours stand out from Joe Schmoes. You know what I mean? What makes you happy and what makes you excited for things. And so Wondercon is an amazing con if you're local and you don't have a lot invested in it. And I'm talking about this from a normie sense. Again, if you are a professional convention artist, if you are, or just a professional in the comic industry or in the industry in general, you're probably going to be fine. You're probably going to be fine. But if you're just starting out, you're not going to do okay. It sounds very, very bad, but you're probably not going to do okay. You're probably just going to break even. You're probably going to only make a couple $100. And I know that sounds very disheartening, but you have to also factor in the time you're working these cons. These hours were so long. They were on the first day, I believe it was 9 to 7, and then technically it was 10, but I'm putting 9 because you have to get there early. 9 to 7. Then the next day was about the same. It was 9 to 7. And then the last day was 9 to 5. Okay? And you're like, 9 to 5, that's not that bad. Did you miss that the other 2 days were almost 12-hour days? Like, it's a lot. So when you factor that into things, if you're factoring in the fact that for 3 days, you're doing an entire, like, quote unquote normal work day's worth of work. Because remember, during that time, you also don't really get, like, you get breaks if there's a lull and you have someone watch your stuff and you can go zip to the bathroom, like, but we don't get, like, a break unless you have a table buddy. Because this is something else I'm putting into this because I didn't know. It's my first time going to this con. When you pay for Artist Alley, you only get one badge and one chair. So we had to pay extra for me to get my second badge and my second chair. That, which, again, I paid for, which was not something I was expecting. Most cons I've ever done have always been 2 badges, 2 chairs, right? And for the price of the con, again, if you are local, it's not that bad. It was like 300 and something, I think. But again, keep in mind, that's with one badge. One badge. So unless you're planning on raw dogging it, it's going to be, you're going to have a rough time. Oh, were a lot of people raw dogging it? Yes, they were. But there were also people doing splits like myself and my friend and a couple other people. And so with that all being said, again, wasn't that bad. And I'm very grateful because I have been having a rough time. So the fact that my bills are covered for a bit are good. I was able to get a couple of treats here in trades. I had some amazing friends who were just like, here, have some overstock. You're fine there. So I did get a nice little itty bitty haul. Very proud of it. Very happy. But there's also a lot of things that I'm going to be changing with things going forward. And right now I've got time to do that because I'm in waitlist hell and I haven't gotten into any other conventions. So that's another thing. If you're planning on going and visiting and having fun, it's doable. It's great. But a big problem that's happening right now with conventions is, especially with the thing going on with Anime Expo this year. I did not get in. Only one of my friends got in that I know of, but it looks like it's going to be rough. Is everything's expensive. I know everybody makes the joke that everything's expensive, but again, what are the things that get cut first? The luxuries. When people go to cons, a lot of people go for friends, for adventure, for talking, for gabbing, for, trading, for being around other nerds, things like that. But then when vendors are there, we're there to make money. For a lot of us, this is our full-time job. This is our thing. So there are a lot of people that don't have a side job on the side. They don't have a partner or a family member that supports them. If they don't reach their quota, they're kind of screwed. And when you don't, you got to find ways to, like, make it in other ways. You know what I mean? You get like, oh, this merch isn't working, got to try this. Oh, this isn't working, got to try that. It's one of those ever-changing environments because, like, I remember back in the day, a long time ago, that, people used to sell little laminated keychains instead of, like, the acrylic ones we have now. And back in the day when, like, a little itty bitty, like, 3DS phone charm was like $5, is now $10 now. And it's not that artists are getting greedy, it's that everything else is costing more money, so we have to raise our prices to go alongside it. And you're seeing more and more with the rise of AI and with the fact that there are so many people that think they can do Artist Alley now, and then, they, like, belittle or downplay other artists, or they're like, oh, well, if you're looking for so-and-so, like, you should check out my stuff, and and things like that, instead of, like, helping each other, And again, it goes back down to, like, the popularity thing. It sounds really, really shitty, but it's just kind of what it is. A really big artist that does Artist Alley vlogs and is known for doing Artist Alley vlogs, and they have a beautiful big full table full to the brim with stuff where, you know, their prices range from $15 to $100. They're probably going to do really, really well at a con. And good for them. They put in the work, they put in the name, they've got the recognition behind him. That's great. Compared to the first person starting out, like when I first started out doing conventions, I only had a small handful of charms. Not even that. I had like 2 acrylic charms. I had some Steven Universe wood ones. I had some potion bottles. I had like a couple of stickers and some prints. Like that was like my first start out, my first foray into the Artist Alley scene. And I've slowly built up the items and things that I make since then. Times are changing. Things are changing. Not everybody wants keychains. Not everybody knows that. You know, like a lot of people were all here about the sticker book craze and stuff like that. But now there's a bunch of people with sticker books. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I already have sticker books at home. I don't need sticker books. Same thing with sketchbooks. It's an ever-changing environment. And like, it sounds very stressful. And it's a lot of stuff that you need to keep into account. I know I'm going on like a huge tangent here when I should just be talking more about WonderCon, but it's something I've been thinking about for a hot second. And chat, guys, like I said, March has been a month, and I have not been able to gab and talk and be a person for like almost 3 weeks. So that's why this is a little bit all over the place. So considering, again, I had low inventory, I had low cost going in, it was close by. It was okay. It was okay for me. If you had to fly in, if you had to do X, Y, and Z, if you know, yada, 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 it's going to be different. It's going to be different. You're probably not going to do as well. And you should probably stick to more of the cheaper cons. Because, again, I've heard numbers from other cons. And the farthest I've ever traveled for a convention was San Japan, back in Texas. You know, and that was years ago. That was back in 2018. That was way, 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 way back before times have changed. You know, another thing too is you also only get a 6-foot table at this con, which again, not bad if you're by yourself, but when you're table splitting, that's a 3-foot square. So you got to make sure you can be versatile and stuff. Me and Kuma made it work, but it definitely helped that I didn't have a lot and he had more. So we were able to make it look very nice. Because that's another thing. You also don't want your table to look too empty, but you don't want it to look too cluttered, which is so hard. It's so hard to talk about because it's like people are like, well, these are contradicting advice. What are you trying to get at? And I'm like, it makes sense when you're in the scene, you know? And it's one of those things that, like I said, it's always changing. It's always, you're trying to see what sticks, which is why a good rule of thumb I always have is if you want to do this, make stuff you would buy. Make stuff you would pay for. Make stuff that if it doesn't sell, don't buy 30 or 40 of it. Test the waters first. And then if it does well, then buy more, you know? A good example, like for me, there are some things I've made that I have not sold a single item since I've had it, which is why I only have like 6 of them, because I'm like, all right, even if it takes me a million years to get rid of these 6 little things, I only got 6 of them instead of having 30 in a box somewhere in my apartment. You know, it's a whole nother problem. And something else to put into account when you're flying and when you're traveling is the cost of your extra luggage flying in. So that's more cost added to that's more adding to your break even, you know? And then it can get complicated when you explain to people like, yeah, I did this and that and I made X, Y, and Z. And then they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, is it though? Is it because of all the time and the energy and everything put in and the fact that I put so much in it? Like, how would you feel if you worked that long and you only made that much? They're like, oh, it'd be kind of asked. Like, yeah, it's kind of how it is, you know? And I have just been gabbing on and not talking too much about this con. Let me go back to the con. If you're new here and you wonder about my rambling content, this is what I do. This is what we do here on the Twisted Disaster channel. We have little conversations. People usually like to slap me on the background while they do chores and like draw on their own sketchbook and stuff, which don't feel bad. I do the same thing. Trust me. I am very much ooh, give me that video essay while I do my monotony thing so I don't have to listen to the quiet. But yeah, all in all, fun con, little con. Had a good time. We were debbed that we were put in anime jail because like it was like all the people that usually do anime cons were all like stuck in the back row. So that was another thing to consider is you can't control your placement, obviously. Would I recommend this con? If you are local and if you have other shows, this would not be a con that I would sink a bunch of money into and hope that it sticks. Because another good example, another very popular artist there. Again, I'm not going to say who, but I was like, "Oh, hey, how'd you do?" And they're like, "I made about like $1,000 less than last year," and that's bad. When like it's like for a lot of people, it's usually like you want to stick to the same amount you made the year before or close to that. Again, when you have a full table with a lot of good stuff and you made $1,000 less, I didn't even need to know. I don't even know what their total was, but just hearing that, that's not good. That's not a good thing. Which is why I know more and more people are looking for more and more cons, but then it adds stuff to it. I'm rambling again. So, yeah, if you're local, fun con to go to. I don't know how much the normal just like to go price is, like if you want to do stuff. I do know they're actually selling tickets for next year now. So if you guys want to jump on that and you live close to the Anaheim area or you're going to visit Disney around this time next year, hey, maybe shoot for that. You know, I think I would definitely go to this con. I usually don't go to conventions, but because it is also close and it's not that bad. One downside is it is $25 a day parking because it is in Anaheim. It is across the street from Disneyland. So again, if you're not local and you have to drive out here, that might be a little bit of a pain as well. That might be something else to factor in. You might want to like see if you can get a buddy to drop you off or something, or all carpool, make it work. Make it work. But yeah, I had fun. I got excited to meet a lot of people. I was very surprised that a fan was there who I'm going to make sure to put their info on. I'll put it on the screen and I'll put it in the description box as well because I can't think of their username right now. I'm very sorry. Was very sweet and shuffled on by and gave me a little goodie bag of a bunch of their stuff. And their stuff was really cute and really good. And yeah, I'd love you guys to check them out as well. I had a fun Wondercon. It was a great first experience for me. Again, I have been having a month, so this was a very nice way to end off the BS that has been my March. And yeah, all right. I think that's all of it. Would I do it again? Yes, I would. Again, but I probably would not be making new stuff. It would probably be the same thing. I'd probably have like leftovers or things like that. And as long as the prices stay about the same, I would happily come back. So yeah, yeah, decent small filler con. I finally understand what people mean about filler cons. That's what I was getting at with the Comic-Con thing. Yeah, so I have talked about previously how I was like done with comic conventions because of just the people there. And I've realized now, especially after talking to other people, that this is a good filler con. I didn't know what a lot of people meant by filler cons. This is one of them because, like I said, I did make a little bit of profit. My bills are covered for a bit, so I can breathe. I'm not rolling in dough, and I'm not like yuppie. I can be fully stress free. I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm good. I can sleep now. I don't have to stress as bad. But knowing all that and knowing that, like, yeah, I'd be pissed. I would admit, I made because I tried making stuff last minute, and I only got like 2-ish things done in time. But if I sank a lot into this show specifically, I'd be pissed. I would never come back. I would never do this again. And so I think that's just how I'm going to treat comic conventions, specifically in SoCal going forward, because from what I've heard from other friends on the East Coast and in other parts of America, it's not like that. It's not as oversaturated in the Cali scene. It's not as crazy. People aren't as rude. So yeah, I put my money in and then I thought about how I did Comic Con Revolution and I've done other comic conventions. And now that I know that, I think we're gonna be okay. So yeah, it's a good filler con if you do a lot of cons. If this is your first con ever, I still think it's decent, but I would definitely see if you can find someone to split with because, again, I would not sink myself in the hole for this con. Even if I was in a better spot financially, I wouldn't do it for this one. So yeah, good filler con. Had a blast. Was very excited to meet up with people. Got to see one of my art idols that I haven't seen in a long time, and we got chit chatting and was like, oh my god, you're vending here too, that's awesome, you know. And yeah, all right. There's my ramble. There's my talk. There's my review. Had a good time. It was fun. Um, I will be making that ALA video hopefully soon-ish, but my next video is actually sponsored. I know, I'm surprised. My views have been kind of in the trash lately, so I'm very excited for that. It's very much not like my normal stuff. So I hope you guys do check that out, because on top of it is being sponsored for the next video, I also made sure I talked to the people that I could like have a topic to talk about, so it's not just, you know, a sponsored video. And I hope you guys like the topic when I rant and my ramble, because I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm back, but we're gonna knock on wood, because I've been saying that, and then, you know, the universe. So have a good day, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and comment for the bot. Let me know, what is your favorite comic book character? Movies count too. You know, let me know down below if you can't think of anything else to comment on. So yeah, as always, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.